Our solidarity is with the Palestinians. I thank you very much for your applause, and I would like to thank our especially important guest, George Rashmawi. George came in the mid-90s to Germany, studied at the Cologne University Medical Sciences, became an activist for ASTA and also in the foundation of the Palestinian Student Association in Germany. Alongside this, George Rashmawi from 1996 was a member of the Central Council of the General Union of Palestinian Students Worldwide. After finishing his studies, Israel rejected and refused to take him back into Palestine territories. So together with two friends, he formed a medical enterprise. He still works for that company. And on top of that, he is a member of the spokesperson circle of the coordination group of the network Palestine, Israel. They advocate for a just peace in the Middle East between Palestine and Israel. The network has a total of 35 groups. George Rashmawi currently also is the chair of the Palestinian communities, institutions and activities in Europe and a member of the board of the Palestinian community in Germany. Palästinensische Gemeinde e.V. in Germany, with groups in 25 towns and cities in Germany, and is a member of the National Congress of PLO. George Rashmawi, the floor is yours. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, dear comrades, I'm shaking because I really am feeling your solidarity with us. Thank you very much for sharing your solidarity with me. Allow me, on behalf of the Palestinian community in Germany, to thank you for the invitation to this wonderful conference. This is really an honor and a privilege. Thank you very much. Of course, 10 minutes wouldn't be enough to elaborate on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but what I want to reiterate and talk to you about is that the Palestine-Israel conflict did not start on the 7th of October 2023, as some mass media tried to portray. This conflict has been in place since 1948. Back then, the Israeli troops, terrorist groups, 75,000 people were displaced from their homelands. And 2/3 of Palestinians actually had to be subdued by the Israeli defense forces. And now there's an inferno in Gaza that is actually not appropriately described by the term of war. In the eyes of the world public, a genocide is taking place. A genocide that we no longer thought possible after 1945. And you all know the horrifying details that are delivered to us daily on radio and television. Although they are far from depicting reality, trivialize or conceal parts of it and do not even reach the critical level of the Israeli press. As early as in May 2024, this year, the International Court of Justice ruled that Israel had to end its offensive in Gaza immediately and allow humanitarian aid into Palestine. Germany opposed this ruling and intervened before the ICJ as a third party in defense of Israel. What is this all about? Are you not ashamed? And despite this judgment and the subsequent ICJ opinion on the illegality of the Israeli occupation, and this is really about the illegality of the Israeli occupation of July 2024 of the Gaza Strip. There is no end in sight. No end in sight with regard to the war of annihilation that so far has claimed more than 46,000 lives and 110,000 injured. 70% of them are of these victims are women and children. 70% of the victims are women and children. And I can assure you that these forces of resistance do not hide behind women and children. Israel's war crimes have reached such an extent, and the evidence is so overwhelming that the International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and his former Defense Minister Gallert. The UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights declared last week that the Israeli attacks on hospitals in Gaza constituted crimes against humanity. The Israel Armed Forces hence violated fundamental principles of international humanitarian law. Amnesty International published a report in December last year, which proves Israel's intention to destroy the Palestinians through deadly attacks, the destruction of vital infrastructure, and the prevention of the delivery of food, medicine, and other aid. A few days ago, Human Rights Watch also published an investigation showing or providing evidence that the Israeli authorities have deliberately created living conditions aimed at destroying the Palestinian civilian population in the Gaza Strip alongside the U.S. Alongside the U.S., the German government continues to support the Israeli government, this fascist government, with arms supplies, diplomatic support, and the suppression of Palestine voices here in Germany. Thirty percent of all weapons come from Germany. Together with the USA, this amounts to 99% of all arms deliveries to Israel. That means both are accomplices in this genocide. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm only allowed to talk here for 10 minutes, but I'm really calling upon you to demand the following: an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, immediately. This is needed. Humanitarian aid for Gaza must be allowed in immediately. All people of this world who still have a spark of humanity in their hearts are to rise up against this genocide. This is not the way the situation can continue by any means. Ladies and gentlemen, dear comrades, let me say one thing. I am sure through this international solidarity and the solidarity of all peoples of the earth, we will prevail. Palestine will be free. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, George Rashmavi, for your wonderful words. And now I would like to announce the presence of two friends from Cuba. Emilia Norris, please come forward. Emilia Norris, she is an animal doctor, veterinarian, and a member of the Communist Party of Cuba. And she is also a member of the Central Committee of the Communist Party, is the former ambassador Katya Arruca. Where's Katya? So we will hear more about her, because obviously she cannot be present. So there have been numerous manifestations for Cuba, and against the backdrop of the current situation with new exacerbations of the blockade under Biden, that is going to be even worse under President Trump. Our solidarity in the 66th year of the Cuban Revolution, more in demand than ever. So we would like to welcome here to the floor, to the microphone, again, Emilia Norris. Emilia Norris Acuna. Yep. Dear representatives of left-wing and progressive political parties, dear friends of the newspaper Junge Welt, honored guests. First of all, I'd like to extend our warmest greetings on behalf of the Communist Party of Cuba to all the parties, social organizations, and solidarity movements present here who support and have supported the Cuban people in the past. Saludo. And we would like to express our gratitude on behalf of the Cuban Communist Party. Thank you very, very much for this invitation and for this space of solidarity with our country. It is truly a pleasure to see so many progressive forces united on this stage to discuss the many and great challenges we have been facing and we are to face in the future. And above all, to decide on joint actions to overcome these challenges. The International Rosa Luxemburg Conference, which brings together so many friends of the Communist Party of Cuba for the 30th time, can be seen as a very good opportunity to reaffirm our position in defense of unity, the struggle for peace and solidarity between peoples. The theme of this year's conference, the ultimate fight or the last stand, how dangerous is imperialism in decline, is extremely relevant. The Cuban revolutionary leader Fidel Castro Bruce had already commented on this in 1976 as follows. He said, let me quote, "Imperialism, capitalism, neocolonialism, racism, the brutal exploitation of man by man in all its forms and manifestations are approaching their end in the history of mankind." And their supporters, who have gone completely mad, know this only too well. That is why they are acting ever more desperately, hysterically, cynically, and impotently. End of quotation. Double standards and hypocrisy, methods of unconventional warfare, manipulation campaigns in the media, complete disregard for the sovereignty of states and the norms of international law, and the United Nations Charter are repeatedly on the agenda in the actions of imperialism and its allies. In addition, there are unilateral coercive measures aimed at exerting political and economic pressure. The Cuban people have experienced the enormous damage of such measures for themselves, as for more than 60 years the US government has pursued an ironclad economic, trade, and financial embargo against Cuba, which has been felt considerably in all areas of life. And this is what I really mean in all areas of life, in all aspects. And this difficult situation has been exacerbated by the current energy crisis, especially since all financial transactions have been made more difficult since Cuba was added to the outrageous list of countries that allegedly support terrorism. The first secretary of the Communist Party of Cuba and President of the Republic, Miguel Dario Díaz-Canel Bermúdez, said the following at the March of the Struggling People against the embargo at the José Martí Anti-Imperialist Tribune on December 20th, 2024. Quote, pointing the finger at Cuba as a state that allegedly supports terrorism is indefensible and immoral. Where paramilitary groups are trained to carry out, promote and finance acts of terrorism against Cuba. This arbitrary classification purchase materials and equipment to maintain our power plants. In addition, we were exposed to several severe weather events, including strong hurricanes and earthquakes, which also caused considerable material losses and economic damage. In order to find a way out of the current situation, the Communist Party of Cuba and our government have defined a political strategy with economic and social measures that are the result of the analyses of the 8th Party Congress, the plenary sessions of the Central Committee, and the sessions of the 10th Legislature of the National Assembly. The focus is on the priorities for 2022 set by the 9th plenary session of the Central Committee. These are the strengthening of unity, the further development of political and ideological work, the revitalization of the economy, and the correction of undesirable developments and negative trends and tendencies in today's Cuban society.
So, dear friends, the leader of the Cuban Revolution, and also on the occasion of the 65th anniversary of the victory of the revolution, the general leader of the Cuban Revolution, Raúl Castro, said the following: unity is our most important strategic weapon. It has enabled this small island to overcome every challenge. It is the basis for the internationalist action of our people and their successes in other countries of the world, in accordance with José Martí's maxim that our homeland is humanity. Let us preserve unity as our most precious asset. because only united will the progressive and left-wing forces be able to stop the advance of the far right, both at regional and international level. Only with unity can we establish a just, democratic and equal international order for the great majorities. History has shown us that division and sectarianism hinder unity, which only benefits imperialism. As long as the neoliberal and exploitative policies of imperialism dominate globally, the barbarism of war will continue to prevail over peace. There is an urgent need to create a world in which solidarity, cooperation, and integration prevail. There is and will be no other way than this to achieve peace. We will continue to denounce this and also the genocide that is committed against the Palestinian people. With the complicity of the U.S. government and its allies, an immediate ceasefire and a just and lasting solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict are urgently needed. We reaffirm the legitimate right of this fraternal people to self-determination and to the establishment of a sovereign and independent state with pre-1967 borders, and with East Jerusalem as its capital. With a guarantee that the refugees will be able to return. We reject the expansion of NATO towards Russia's borders, which is the main cause of the current conflict in Europe. The double standards and hypocrisy of this warmongering bloc are only aimed at maintaining the hegemonic interests and supremacy of the empire. We also support the brother people of Venezuela and the elected, constitutionally elected Nicolas Maduro. Dear friends, the Communist Party of Cuba, together with the government and the people, will advance the construction of socialism and continue economic and social development in order to achieve a fairer distribution of wealth and the greatest possible social justice, without any interference or intervention from outside. We do not want to and will not give up our development plans. We will work tirelessly despite all adversity, material shortages and hostility, and we will do so with absolute confidence of victory and with the support of international solidarity. In this context, I would like to take this opportunity to invite you once again to the 6th International Conference for the Balance of the World, which will take place in Havana from January 28th to the 31st. It will bring together many leading thinkers, academics, intellectuals, members of the Solidarity Movement, and leaders of left-wing political forces to discuss the importance of peace, dialogue, and multilateralism. We hope that many of those present here will also be able to join us at this conference. Dear friends, in the face of the empire's constant attempts to overthrow the Cuban Revolution, we will continue to resolutely defend the sovereignty and independence we have won in so many years of struggle. Long live Cuba! Down with the imperialist embargo. We will win. We will win.
Danke an Emilia für ihren herzerfrischenden und wichtigen
Cuba, yes. Embargo, no.
Wenn uns diese Manifestation
Now,
etwas zeigt, dann
if
das,
anything
dass wir
has been
nicht
proven
alleine
by this
sind
manifestation,
und dass
it
wir
is
zusammen
the
etwas
insight that we are
bewegen
not
können.
alone. And
Das
together we
vereinte
can
Volk
change
wird
things.
siegen.
The united
Die
people
Chilenen
will
haben
win.
diesen Gedanken
The Chilean
1973
people
als
have
großen
implemented
Song
this
die Welt
idea in
gebracht.
1973 as a
Hannes
huge
Zerbe
song.
und Jürgen
Hannes
Kupke
Zerbe
werden
and
ihn
Jürgen
jetzt
Kupke
spielen
will
und ihr
play
alle
the
seid
song, and
gebeten,
you are all
mindestens im
asked
Refrain
to sing
mitzusingen.
at
Das berühmte
least
El
the El Pueblo Unido
jamás
jamás
será
será vencido.
De pie cantar que vamos a triunfar. Avanzan ya banderas de unidad y tú vendrás marchando junto a mí y así verás tu canto y tu bandera florecer, la luz de un rojo amanecer y anuncia ya la vida que vendrá. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido en un sueño gigante, gritando adelante. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. Das Volk vereint, nehmen wir den Feind. Mach mit uns, Freund, dass morgen wir die Sieger sind an unserem Lied. Der neue Morgen blüht mit unserem Lied, einander wollen Lied. El pueblo unido, amante gigante, gritando adelante. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. 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 Danke an Hannes Zerb und Jürgen Kupke. Danke an euch alle für euren Gesang. Und danke allen, die unsere Manifestation für Kuba und Palästina
So Cuba and
unterstützt haben, weil
Palestine,
sie ihnen
it's good
wichtig
to
waren.
support